My name is Serena Poon, and welcome to my show, Serena Loves. As a celebrity chef, nutritionist, and entrepreneur, I'm incredibly passionate about helping others live their best lives through methods I call culinary alchemy, which is the magic of combining education, integrative and functional nutrition with healing, intuitive energy. So, with each episode, I'm going to share with you the amazing stories of some incredible people, inspiring entrepreneurs from all different backgrounds, each who have overcome challenges in their personal journeys to get to where they are today. And today, I am thrilled to bring to the show someone who is not only an incredibly talented artist who uses his musical genius to entertain people, but he's made it his mission to use music as a vessel to spark change in humanity. Yeah, he is amazing. So we recently met at a private event where I was so moved by his passion and the message behind one of the songs that he performed that I knew I just had to have him on the show. And what I didn't know then was that he's already so out there. His music, his writing, his content, his producing, everything has already been featured on huge television shows across major networks. He's been on Grey's Anatomy, Songland, Shameless, Donovan. I mean, he's been everywhere and on everything. He's topped the charts in Europe, and he has accumulated over 22 million streams on Spotify alone as a solo artist. He is so awesome. We're so lucky to have him here. Please welcome the all too humble Ollie Gabriel.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're so welcome. Thank you for being here. I'm so excited, and I know we have surprises lined up for the audience, and I just love your style. I love your music. I love your mission. And it's so special and so different because you have these gifts and you've taken your talent and you're not just using the music to move people, you're using it to inspire people for change.
Yeah.
And so I'd love for you to share some parts of your journey that kind of led you to this point. Like you're not just making music, for money, which is something you said. It's so much more than that.
Yeah. Well, it took a while to get there, to get to that place to where I was able to separate the purpose from what I do.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people confuse that a lot of times. And now that I realize that music is just something that I do to implement the purpose, it's made my life a lot more richer, a lot less stressful. But it started for me back in Louisiana. I'm from the South. I've always wanted to be in the music industry and entertain. So
ever since you were little.
Yeah, ever since a young kid watching TV, looking up to people that everyone looks up to, Michael Jackson and Stevie Wonder. And growing up in the South, I had a lot of really rich influences of music, and it's always been the dream. So I can say, being here in LA now, almost 15 years, I've always wanted to be here.
Yeah.
But for so long, the thing that drove me was really an insecurity about, for me being from Louisiana, growing up fatherless, like single mom,
right.
Struggling with a lot of issues of abandonment and things like that.
Right.
Growing up, singing and entertaining was the one thing that felt like my superpower. It's like, hey, when I do this, I get the attention that I want. I get so it kind of became almost I didn't realize it till later, but it was like a ego thing that I had to feed, right? And a lot of the thing that drove me so far in my career early on was really the sense of wanting to show others back home, hey, I did it. I did it without you. Hey, look, Dad, I didn't need you to do this kind of thing, right?
It's like an ego-driven passion.
Yeah, exactly. And I went that way for a long time. And as I started to gain success in certain areas, I thought that buying certain things or having certain things would be able to make me feel
fulfilled.
Yeah, or whole, or loved in a lot of ways. And eventually I found out that that wasn't the case. And that's when I really started to look within and do an inward journey to find out, okay, really, why am I driven the way I am? Why do I really want this thing? And when I peeled back the onion, I realized that it was ego that was driving me.
Yeah.
And then I started to really ask myself, well, how is it that that you really want to contribute? How is it, what is it that you really want to do? And I started to think about what really lit me up. And it was when I performed or when people came up to me and they said, you know what, that song, I resonated with that. It helped me get through something.
Yeah.
It wasn't the superficial things. It was really when I was able to have the conversations with people that I felt my impact was really real. It made a difference. So I said, this is the reason why I have this gift. So this is how I want to use it. And that's when the shift started.
That's so beautiful. I love it. So you almost kind of started off using music as almost like therapy, right?
Yeah.
It was like to kind of address a trauma that you were experiencing when you were young.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then that kind of that kind of evolved into something else, but again, still anesthetizing in a way, right?
Exactly.
Pains and wounds. That's so interesting. So you've always written your own songs?
Yeah, I started writing when I was about 9 years old. I was always just a fan of stories, so songwriting is it's like storytelling.
Right.
It's like it's an audible movie, the way I think of it. So writing has just always been something important to me, and it was a way to escape, to create, a fantasy world where you can be anything, you can do anything. So writing for me was very therapeutic, as well as playing instruments.
Yes.
I was the kid that when everyone else was outside wanted to play, basketball or whatever, like I'd be in the room like making a song.
Yeah, like on a piano. I've heard you play the piano. Is that do you other instruments too? Is that your primary tool for songwriting?
Actually, it is my primary tool for songwriting, but my first instrument was trombone.
Ah, really?
Yeah, so I was a brass instrument player. I marched tuba, sousaphone, like the big marching one that wraps around you. So I did that, and I played, I was on the drum line, and I got a chance to experiment with a lot of different instruments. And that's really what honed my ear and my curiosity for different genres.
So that's really cool because it's like being in the kitchen for me, and you have to like do every little part of it, hot, cold, all of it to kind of know where you really love to put your energy towards. And for you, it's the piano.
Yeah.
So when you say that you kind of wanted to dive in because you realized you weren't feeling, complete, right, with all this that you had gained from all this success, being featured and you're on all these major networks and radio stations and charts. What did you do? Like, how did you start that journey inward?
The first step for me was really I began to silence the distractions. I think a lot of times when you're taking that step where you feel like something's wrong, I think the best thing a lot of times to do is to just step away and be quiet, be still. So I started to be still more. I stopped going out. I started to say no to more meetings, more things, and I really started to spend a lot more time to myself, like reading.
Meditating?
Yeah, meditating. Maybe not in the sense of the time, not the way I do it now. I wasn't as conscious, but I started to spend a lot more time not like driving, not listening to the radio, just like in my thoughts, being still. I started to do that, and over time, it felt like something was happening where I was able to get in tune with the voice inside, that we all have, right? So I was able to reconnect to that.
Yeah. And kind of like reconnect to your own inner voice,
Yeah.
Intuition. Was there something that happened and that kind of made you feel like I need to stop what I'm doing and I need to figure this out. I need to figure myself out,
Yeah, there actually was. At the time, I had a record out in Europe, my hit single, Running Man, which was like my first big record. And up until that point, it was like everything I dreamed of for like all these years, to be on the radio. So here I was in Germany actually at the time, I remember. And I was on the radio everywhere, like I'm going and I'm getting treated like this big celebrity and people are, hyping me up. But I didn't feel good. It wasn't the feeling that I thought it would be.
Yeah.
Like, I thought when that happened, I would be like, feel so good, right? But I still felt so alone. I it just was weird. I wasn't happy. Like it wasn't enough.
Right.
And then when I got back to LA, I was there for like a month. And when I got back to LA, it was still like this emptiness kind of feeling. And I was like, well, that's weird. I thought that would, I have like a top 10 record right now. And I thought that would be the thing. Right. And that's when I really started to say, something's wrong. I said, well, am I depressed? Am I, I started to ask myself these questions, like, what's wrong? Why don't I feel ecstatic? And some days I just felt like I didn't want to get up out of bed, And I just started to look inward. And I said, I need some mentors. I need some help. So I switched from listening to the radio to listening to podcasts. One of the first podcasts that I started to listen to that really helped a lot is School of Greatness. Lewis Howell, a friend told me about it. Thanks, Lewis, if you're watching. But that was like one of the first podcasts that kicked it off for me. And then it was Super Soul Sundays. I started listening to a lot, and then now I probably listen to 20 or so different podcasts. So I became like hooked on inspiration and guidance from people who have had a similar path.
Just sort of like it's a lot of self-development, right? But it's also, like you said, it's peeling back those layers and kind of reaching a different level of consciousness about yourself, right? And then of course about our community and the world, and that's probably brought you full circle to where you are now, right? Of wanting to impact the world. I love something that you shared when we were at this event. And just to give some, background to the audience, you were asked to perform, this very special song that will be released soon. And here you are, you're such an accomplished artist, and like you said, you have all these accolades, and you've performed in front of millions, and you were nervous. And I love that you shared that with us, even though it's a small group, and I feel like that is such a testament to your journey and your growth that you can say that, and I just want to thank you again for having shared that with us, because I think that kind of, like, you don't even realize you're teaching us in that moment before you even performed, before you even shared the song. You're teaching us by example, by being open and authentic and expressing that feeling to us. That was like a little lesson right there. And so I just want to thank you again for that.
Oh, thank you. Well, you're welcome. It was something that I felt that I had to share. For me, it was a moment of, I had been asking and putting out this mission now for, the last like year and a half. So I just did my first speaking seminar at a global conference. And I had been really expecting people like yourself and all the other people that were in that room to come into my universe, like more of those people. And when I got there and, I looked around, I had no idea what to expect. And I was like, wow, like these are like these are my mentors in this tribe that are inspiring and that, are best-selling authors and all these things that I've put in my path that, okay, I want to impact. And I'm now sitting in a room full of them. So I kind of had a moment for a little bit where it was like, wow, like I don't belong here. How that little inner critic that'll come.
All have that.
It'll come, and then I got nervous because I was like, well, I'm not 100% because I felt like I was getting a cold, and I was like, well, and so I almost backed out. But then something told me, it said, you know what? Everyone here is together because they're passionate about impacting the world. They're not passionate about necessarily something material or what they do or becoming a best-selling author. They're a best-selling author because they were passionate about what they were talking about. So I had to kind of get myself out of the way and remind myself of why I sing. And when I reminded myself of that, which is what I shared, I said, well, it's not about me. If I mess up a note, if I don't sound as good as I do at this award show or wherever it is, it's okay, because if one person hears the message and resonates with it, then I did my job. So.
No, you absolutely did, and you were just incredible.
Thank you so much.
just incredible. And that message was so powerful, and something that not just my audience here appreciates so much. It's such a great reminder, it's just a great reminder about it doesn't matter where you're at in your life, in your professional career, in your personal life. It's just like we're all kind of the same, right? We all have those moments where we question ourselves, and just to remember like your purpose, your why.
Yeah.
Like, what are you actually doing? What are you doing this for? It's about your message, and it's an act of service. And when the focus is on that and less on you, like that's where that inner strength comes from, right?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I kind of always try to remind myself that I want to be pulled. It's like to remind yourself that find the thing that pulls you versus, for me, so long being in the music industry was so much, for so many years, it was about chasing. Because everyone's just like, it's this grind culture, like, no sleep, you can't live, you can have fun later. So everything was always ahead of you in the future, right? So you never got to really experience or be grateful for what was right in front of you, what was in the presence.
Right.
And now I've shifted that entire paradigm to a place of where, when I wake up, it's like you feel pulled, like, man, someone needs to hear what I have to say today. Someone needs me to tell my story. And it could be someone random, like in the gas station, like just talking. So I try to always talk to people and ask. And when you open up just in that little way, you'll be surprised at how many people you can impact.
Right. And I totally agree with you there. I mean, so much of it is about presence and being present.
Yes.
I was actually coaching a client, the other day, and very similar to what you're saying, yes, there's these gurus and these mentors and people who are amazing experts and have podcasts and books that we lean towards for that kind of knowledge. But when you're really present, you realize that knowledge is all around us, and it could be that person who's in front of you in line to get coffee, and they're just going to drop a knowledge bomb. And if you're not paying attention, if you're not present in that moment, you might miss it. So we have teachers all around us all the time, right?
Yes.
Surrounded.
Yes.
And so it was, that's a great reminder of that.
Yes.
So and it's just beautiful, this journey. And again, thank you so much for being here. I'm clearly
my pleasure.
so excited.
Thanks for having me.
Are there other mentors other than Lewis Howes that you love? I mean, let us know some of these mentors, these books, these podcasts, because I know people are going to listen to this and they're going to want to tap into what helped guided you.
Yes. Well, a few books that I think were really monumental for me was this one book. It's called The Science of Mind by Ernest Holmes. It's an older book. I think it was written in like the 20s or something, But that book really helped me to understand my my oneness with God. I don't know how spiritual you get on here, but
God, universe.
Yeah, universe, whatever you want, energy
whatever,
source. Yeah, so it just kind of helped me to, because I grew up really religious, growing up in the South, Louisiana. So I grew up very much where there's a separation. So you kind of believe growing up that, for me, it was, this God's up here and like I'm here and, don't piss him off. I might get like a lightning bolt, But that book really helped me because it helped me to claim my divine power. Another book that really helped me that I just finished, which is great, is Alex Benayan's The Third Door.
Okay.
Yeah.
Haven't read that one yet.
It's amazing.
In my Amazon cart today.
It is amazing. I actually talked with him on Instagram briefly, and I was so happy.
Wow.
I brought him in my universe. It comes to find out that we have some mutual friends. So I'm sure we'll meet because I got to shake his hand and tell him thank you in person. But it was very inspiring, and basically the premise of it, I guess you would say, is he says that every successful person in history, right? They've taken the third door. So there's three doors. There's like one door where 99% of people are like waiting in line, right? So that's the road that people say, well, to do this, you have to go this way, right? So everyone jumps in that line. And then there's the second door, which is if you are an insider. So maybe you're like, your parents hooked you up or you came in like the inside man. So only a few small percentage can take that second door. So for everyone else that may never get to the front of the line in the first door, don't have the inside track, those people take the third door, which is where it's funny how he says it. He's like, you might have to like run through an alley, climb through a window, like, you kind of just make it happen essentially. Right. So he talks about like Steven Spielberg's and like, Warren Buffett's and people like that, and tells their story. Yeah. And his story of how he interviewed and went on a several year journey to interview these people, and how he kept facing rejection and how he overcame that rejection just by, being persistent and taking the third door. If someone said no here, it's like how he went around and figured out a way.
Ah, very cool.
So I love that one because it resonated with me a lot. That's been the story of my life.
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing that with us.
For sure.
Yeah, no, I think that we should do like some affiliate thing or something. You're probably going to get tons of people to order that.
Hey, I just like to share things that really made an impact.
Yes, yeah. I as well. That's why you're here. You've made such an impact on me, and I know that you've made such an impact on so many people already, and I'm excited for you to make an impact on my community.
Yes.
We're wrapping up on time, and I'm excited to have you on another time for that special surprise we're going to do.
Yes.
But until then, would you let everyone know where we can find you on social, on Instagram, Facebook, all the things where we can find all the magic you've already created?
Yes.
Where can we find that?
Well, you can find me at olliegabriel.com. That's OLLIE Gabriel.com. And you can stay up to date with me on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at Ollie Gabriel. So the @ Ollie Gabriel. And other than that, be looking out. I have a new EP coming at the top of the year. It's called The Good Fight.
Yes.
And all the songs are going to really be about raising the consciousness, tapping on a lot of social issues like climate change and self-awareness. So it's a really motivational EP. So I call it The Good Fight.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited for it.
Oh my gosh, I can't wait. I can't wait to have you on when that's out and we can talk about it some more. It'll be so exciting. So
maybe a little performance.
Yes, that's what we want. So thank you so much for coming. Thank you guys for being here today, and I'm excited for you to come join us next time.